Hi, everyone. Welcome to another session of 45B Grit. So this is our initiative to help Cardano Grassroots communities stay in touch, get to know what they're doing, and share efforts where they can. I'm also going to bring on stage our colleague from 45B, Anselmo, just to say hi. So often, I am just myself presenting things. So I just want to introduce you to the person doing the great work for video capturing and video editing. Anselmo, do you want to say just hi or?
Just to say hi. Hello, everyone.
The man that prefers to be behind cameras, right?
Yes.
But yeah, so, because we are very lucky to have you on the live today, I wanted to just showcase and thank you publicly for the great work you do in capturing and editing our presence in events. So, yeah. I'm very much looking forward to what we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks in Nomads conference, also interviewing people and all. So, also want to welcome Mohammed Mustafa. Can you say hi?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah. Nice to have you here.
Yes, I'm happy to be here, Lucas. Thanks for the invitation.
It's been a while since we spoke back in Nairobi, right?
Yeah, back in Nairobi. Since then, we've not been able. It's been on X and on Telegram once in a while.
Yeah. I'm very curious to hear a bit more about what you guys are doing down in Ghana. And so can you tell us a bit just what organizations you work with? We're not going to go into the presentation of the organization right now, maybe later in the call, but could you just give us some names and locations? You're on mute right now.
Yeah, say again, Lucas.
I was just asking if you can name the organization that you work with and the location that you cover.
Yeah, so we founded Cardano Ghana community mainly to spur freight in Tamale. Tamale is the capital of northern Ghana or northern region. Then
Sorry, you broke up for a second. In what location? Sorry, you broke up again. I just heard you say we started the community in Ghana, but then you said some part of Ghana.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was saying that we founded Cardano Ghana community, and we do mainly events, trying to educate people about Cardano blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and then onboard them onto Cardano through Catalyst project Catalyst. And so we work in Tamale, we work in Kumasi, Accra, and Sunyani, and some other regions that are still left untouched. And so these are some of the areas that we work.
That's super. We're gonna try to do sort of an actual map with a globe that's on our logo already. So where was it? There we go. So this logo already has some sort of a map image there that we're going to be using. And I'm very much looking forward to eventually first try to draft this on Miro to see the areas that you're covering, and then make it a bit more presentable in this kind of structure or navigatable globe. Also, we have Lo here. Can you say hi?
Hi, Lucas. This is Laurentine.
Okay.
I'm very sorry. I cannot turn on my camera because of the activities I am engaged in. So I'm very sorry.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. But it's great to have you here. Hopefully you can stay for next 50 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Super. If you want, you can also edit your name by clicking the three dots if you want, and maybe
All
put
right.
in the entity that you're collaborating with or the organization. It's up to you. I just want to orient you a bit. Let us
I
know
can
if you
do
have
that.
any questions in terms of the StreamYard interface.
No, I'm okay with that.
Super. So yeah, on here we don't have the typical Google Meets thumbs up and down. So I invite you to keep your camera open and to raise your hands literally if you wanted to interject on some topic, or just open your mic and jump in on the conversation at any point. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, like I said, we have this initiative that we've been promoting. This is already the 6th call that we've done. And I forgot to do, Anselmo, could you please help me and try to get the image on the left side and our pictures on the right side? I'm not sure if it was a bit troublesome last time. And there's always someone on the top that can't be seen. Otherwise, we can just remove the logo. Thank you so much.
I'll do it.
Yeah, just try
5
to
minutes.
just find the magic button. Thank you so much. Okay, and yeah, jumping in, just to recontextualize everyone, because it's the 6th call and especially the last one was properly streamed, I'm not going to go into very much detail about what we do here. There is a lot of stuff on the Luma event. There's a ton of links that you can click through to get oriented in terms of what we do, especially the Miro board. And then the goal is to get you guys all the way to join our Discord and to collaborate on our the channel for this initiative. So that will be the Grassroots channel within the 45B server. It's looking a bit weird here. Maybe I can, yeah. I'm just sharing a very small screen to make sure that it's visible for anyone checking later on YouTube or on mobile. So yeah, so that's the overall orientation that I can give you is get familiar with the Miro board, jump on our Discord server, and start collaborating with us. And the TLDR, basically for the name of 45B Grit, is it stands for Cardano Grassroots in Touch. So the grit part comes from here. And then the goal is to create a space for grassroots communities to get in touch, as we're doing here, to present a bit what you do and to learn from each other's experience and share efforts where possible. There's a bit more here in terms of a manifesto or motivation, and there's a bit here about some communities that we've started touching. Initially, I was drafting this like that on Miro, and as the list grows a bit bigger, I've started doing it on Google Sheet. So here we have, this is also linked in the Miro board, I think, only on the Miro board, but I'm going to be creating a landing page for this. So yeah, on the previous call, I've also shown that on previous calls, we've had different people from different communities joining. And as I was saying, I'm trying to create sort of a database of people, contacts, and from there also learn a bit what organizations and communities are working on Cardano. This is something that I could, for example, invite you guys, Mohammed and Laurentine. Mohammed, I thought you preferred to be called Mustafa. Which one is it?
Yeah, either ways. It's actually
Either way.
Yeah, it's Mohammed Mustafa, but my first name is just Mustafa. But because it's one of the names of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, so we just take it. So either ways, either Muhammad or Mustafa is fine. But I'm popularly called in Ghana Mustafa here in Ghana, and the surname is Yakubu.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
The surname is?
It's Yakubu. So I'm playing it, Muhammad Mustafa Yakubu.
Okay, I'll probably be toggling between both anyway. So yeah, making use of your time here today and to try to make it more hands-on, I'm going to share the link for this Google sheet directly in DMs with you guys. So on Telegram for Mustafa and on WhatsApp for Laurentine. And I invite you to ask for edit permissions onto this document and to jump on and start adding your community in here if it's not listed yet, and just dropping us a bit more. So what I've done for the guys that have come to the calls previously, we have Como Pool, we have Upstream, and we have this long list of letters, UPDCI. And yeah, I invite you to start adding in your data here and yourselves here as well. I'm trying to organize a bit whoever's been coming more to the calls to surface them a bit up. And also, I'm going to send you a team invite link for the Miro board. Bear with me. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. So if you want, you could also follow a link to join the Maro board as a team member and be able to edit things. Initially, I was doing this like sharing, making everything very editable to the public. But now, as you start streaming things, you need to be a bit more careful. So now you guys have both links for the Google Sheet and for the Miro board. And I really invite you to come on board because we're still trying to find the sweet spot between just having people come by and present a bit what their communities do and having people actually contributing to projects. So just to bring you up to speed, like I said, the goal is to be productive, to create some artifacts and tooling and value for the communities that are in the know about what we do. And so we have already some things that we started doing and a number of ideas about what we could do. So are you at all familiar with this so far? Is there anything that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, you mean Luma, right?
No, I mean like with the things that we've covered on the previous call and the things that we have on the board as work in progress. Maybe I'll take you through this very quickly. So this one is a survey that we did, inspiring from the need for the marketing committee to know a bit how much the events would cost to organize events around the globe. So we ran this survey and sent it to a number of people from different communities, or the Ada Solar, for example, that did the hackathon down in Argentina, and we got some results. And invite you to through the Miro board to explore a bit these results that we've got. Again, my screen is small on purpose so that it's more comfortable for mobile viewers or something like that. But on yours, it should be a bit more browsable. So that's what we have there. And if you agree that it's interesting, please feel free to share it further. There's a tweet here that you can use for that purpose. So that's this initiative here. It's done, and I've included a link here to say we could adapt it and describe better the communities and circulate it further. So it's something that's in the possible to do things later. Also, what we have ongoing, it's the bigger section here. So we're facilitating these live calls for community know-how exchange, and we're going to be setting up a landing page to have all the links to gather things. And the goal here overall is to assess who's been doing what on the ground in terms of grassroots communities. There's this map that Ada Solar created, And although for now it only has the ambassadors, I've already spoken with Jose yesterday, and we're going to be probably hosting this as map.45b.io and adding in here all the communities that we start inventorying, let's say. And because 45b also does a bit of product and UX management, we are going to be giving feedback to them and hopefully making this as user friendly as possible. So that's another thing that we are doing there. So that's that part. And here, yeah, further down this call, we're going to be, yeah, just noticed Brightgov also joining. Welcome. We'll allow you to introduce yourself in a second, okay? So yeah, so here we are basically just doing this overall goal, and maybe we can, when we're a bit more established, we can have guests just coming over to introduce, like for example, have people coming over from Intersect or from other community leads. This is something that we started on the last call as well. So there's one sheet here that is for budget proposals, and I've already added some details. I've added Laurentine's proposal here, the Francophone corner. I'm not sure, Mustafa, if you have any proposals on the Intersect budget thing that you want to add here. Eventually, we could loop back to this and discuss either your proposals or some proposals that are communities. If you could help gather them, it would be great. So we can reach out to these proposers and see how they are going to be, handling the fact that most proposals didn't get funded. Yeah, this part here is also interesting. So we can review each other's presence and outlook and practices and give them feedback. And I did instinctively a bit of that here when I was adding the Goma pool to the list. So that when I was reviewing their website, I found it interesting that they have a button to delegate and another one to donate. But there are some things that can be improved there. And also they're not actually even linking to their X profile. So this is also something that when you have edit permission on this document, we could help each other. So I titled my feedback is done by Lucas, and this is my feedback to Goma. If anyone wants to add their feedback, they can just get another line and drag it up and say, okay, so this is feedback by Dean. For example, it can do Alt-Enter to add things within the same cell and add it in there. Okay, so I hope this helps paint a bit the picture of what we've been doing so far in 45B Grit. Any questions? Feedback, thoughts, what you feel is more valuable so far?
Excuse me. I missed the last week meeting. There was a meeting last
Sure.
week. I couldn't attend, but I don't understand what you are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you are creating a platform. We spoke a little bit about it before the budget proposal, but I really don't understand where we are going.
Okay.
So
So the overarching mission is to create a space to do exactly what we are doing in this call, to get to know each other, and for the grassroots communities to get in touch with each other, to know what each other is doing. Because you are in a region of Africa, maybe you don't know what Mustafa is doing in Ghana, maybe you don't know what the guys are doing in Latam and how they are organizing their calls. So the main mission here is to learn from each other and to share efforts where possible. Okay.
okay, great, thanks.
Cool. So this is the main point, to start having people coming to the calls and see what like I was saying here, allow communities to present themselves and discuss what they've been doing on the ground, maybe reach out to other entities. And out of these discussions that we've done in the past 4 or 5 calls, we started identifying some things that we can actually do. So the live calls, we've been improving the method for running them, and we're going to be continuing to run them either to host new communities that have never come and present themselves in our space, or to just have a working session where everyone is invited to come on board, and we can, for example, if we have no guests to present, we can go over the lists and the other initiatives that we have and progress work on the initiatives that we have ongoing. Okay, and that's why I was organizing this yesterday. So what this initiative has done so far, what we have in progress, and you can click some links here through the Miro board to get familiarized with it. And then asynchronously, you can use the channel on Discord to contribute or give us feedback or to ask or to suggest ideas. Does this make sense, Laurentin and Mustafa, and also Reitkov?
Yes, it does. I understand now. Thank you.
Okay, so this is why I was saying on the Luma board, you have links for a number of things like the Discord, the Miro board. There's a tweet to share if you support the initiative. And I'm going to be taking all this plus a bit more of orientation into a landing page. So that's an action for me to create this 45b.io /grit support landing page for the initiative. Hopefully, as we come, so for example, next call, if someone asks, what are we doing here? Laurentin or Mustafa or Mark or anyone could explain to the next person. Overall, the goal is also not to create a global center point for all the grassroots communities in Cardano. It's just to be one pilot project. Eventually, we can do 20 calls and say, okay, we've done a bit of the work. Anyone else can pick up the documents and lead the calls. You see? So it's you can also take this model and run it in French. So instead of just doing the Zoom calls that you do, where I was the other day, you could facilitate within the Francophone space that you host these calls exclusively or more focused on the French side. Does that sound good, Laurentin?
Yes.
Okay. So it's supposed to be very bilateral communication, or jump in anytime you have any thoughts. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a bit and introduce or welcome the rest of the participants that we have. Let me just try to switch.
Hello, Lucas. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Happy to be here. And
your name is familiar. I'm not sure exactly where you're coming from. I think you're breaking up.
Yeah, maybe my connection is not the best. Can you understand me now?
Yes. Yeah.
I was asking if this mapping of the Cardano ecosystem hasn't been done before. I thought
well, for example, the person that started the map easily got a list of ambassadors, because there's a center point to Cardano ambassadors. Let me just share again and take you over that. I think if I do this, there we go. So yeah, you'll see a lot of things here, because Jose that started this probably got a data export from the Cardano Foundation, and they included all the ambassadors. But the rest of the grassroots communities are, we know they exist, but I don't know of any full map of things. So there is community hubs being ran by some regions of the globe that was funded and organized by Intersect. But this is something that I've been identifying as an opportunity or a lacking. And so that's what we're starting to do. I was very lucky to incidentally have, you can see here the guy that did this is from Latam. So he maybe is already organizing, adding some local specific things that he's aware of. And the goal of this initiative in 45B is to contribute to this and help make everything like this the sort of the local contributing to the global type of data set.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. To me at least, makes sense.
Cool. Could you give us a bit of intro about yourself? Maybe I can open up your page.
Well,
and by the way, your name.
My name is Nuno, for simplicity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm an entrepreneur in Web3. I'm not. Yeah, it's BrightGov basically. It's the first one. Yeah. I work with the voting systems. I organize hackathons about voting systems in Portugal. We met before, Lucas.
Yes.
And
I'm
I'm curious. Yeah, and what interests me about Cardano is the governance of Cardano seems to be very humane, very human-centered. So that's what I'm interested to explore. And maybe to me, 45B can be a bridge or an onboarding way, this call. So I would like. I'm not sure if I can map myself on the Cardano, because I'm multi-chain. I'm chain agnostic usually. I believe the future is multi-chain, but yeah.
Okay.
I like what you've built. Yeah. Okay.
Super. It's very interesting, and I'm not sure exactly to what detail or to what degree we can include you in our main type of map, like you were saying. But I'm definitely going to keep you in our radar because especially because you're so focused on governance. This space is more about how the community leads lead their communities. It's not so much to go into the governance aspect of Cardano specifically, but it's very interesting to see how you are also addressing this thematic of governance, and so it's definitely a rich contribution that you can give us in terms of second pair of eyes. Okay, so I really invite you to keep coming to the calls and to see us asynchronously, to contribute to the Discord channel, and stay in touch.
Yeah, just to say, Lucas, I always focused on the tech side of it, technology, and now I feel the technology is ready, and I'm thinking more about community building, and I know the Web3 ecosystem in Portugal very well, so I think we have synergies here, and I'm happy to be here, and I'll probably join you in the next calls.
Super.
And check the Discord as well.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. We're burning our time very quickly, but I think that's the main thing is really to let communities showcase a bit what they're doing. So I'm going to pass the floor to Emmanuel as well and invite him to introduce himself a bit.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I am Emmanuel from Nigeria, and I am a contributor to Gimbal Labs and Mesh. I think Lucas, we've met in one of this Intersect meeting. I'm really deeply focused on the technical side of Cardano development and Hydra specifically, and
super.
Also, yes, Hydra. Yeah.
So I was trying to make a note and add you to our sheet, and then I would invite you to get in touch with us so that I can DM you, or if you jump on the Miro board, you can get to the sheet, and then you can sign up and add your contact details in there. But you said Gimbal Labs and Hydra. Anything else?
And Mesh, So
did you say Mesh as well?
What do you say? Sorry.
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit. Did you say Hydra and Mesh or?
Yeah, Mesh, the Mesh contributors.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And in terms of community lead or community facilitation, do you do a bit of this? Meetups? Do you participate? Are you connected with some communities in Cardano?
Yes, in the African community, I'm connected to the Unified Cardano Student Club and Mr. Bernard Sibanda in South Africa. I think Oxygen, and so I'm also in the next month also planning to open a community, a developers community here in Nigeria, among students. So yes.
Okay. Making note. So you know Bernard Sibanda very well, right?
Yeah, we've worked a whole lot of times.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I hate to keep adding and removing the screen, but yeah, I've added your record here, and we need to improve it a bit better later. But you're very welcome, and I'm very curious to know a bit more about the dev community in Nigeria. I often it's already in this initiative's proposal text that we were going to explore the nuances between onboarding end users or community, and in 45B's case, we are not necessarily community. We're more like educators and facilitators, and we want to reach out to small and medium businesses. And so you're giving me, where I had a spectrum of businesses and community, now you're giving me the other dimension of developers. And that's also something that I think I've written down somewhere in the Miro board, to disambiguate a bit what it is to onboard developers from what it is to onboard communities. It's right there. So thanks for your introduction. I'm also going to add on stage Boaz and ask you to be very brief in saying hi if you can. Boaz has been in calls several times.
Hi, folks. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly.
Great, thank you. So, I'm a little bit late. I'm Boaz from Goma, Democratic Republic of Congo, the Goma Hub League. Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. Yeah, Boaz has been on calls with us since 2 years or something, different initiatives, and he's in the detail about our initiative here today. So I'm just going to carry on. And yeah, on screen, I have some topics that we have selected for today. We've started a bit with the participant intros, which has taken almost 2/3 of our time today, but let's fly over what we can in terms of topics to discuss, and then whatever we don't cover we can leave for the next call next week. So I've already touched a bit on the who's who, how we're doing this. It's not ideal, but we need to start somewhere, and so for now this sheet is the way to do it. So again, if you want, we would really appreciate it if you could contribute your data to that sheet, knowing that eventually we're going to continue maturing it until it goes into the map of communities. And to respond a bit to what Nuno was asking, one thing that, getting tech to work for us, one thing that we can surely do is to have layers and some classification of all the records, that all the pins that are on the globe. So maybe initiatives like BrightGov are not going to be by default, but they're going to be there as an option. They can surely be there as an option to then be made visible. Okay. Then who's doing what versus using other people's time and effort. So this was an expression that I saw used recently in terms of community facilitation, and I wanted to touch on this because we are spending your time. We are offering a bit our time as well. We did have a proposal for this that wasn't funded, and we we were doing this before, and we're going to continue doing this after the proposal wasn't funded. But if you ever want to have a look at it, it's right there, and there's some highlights to make the proposal very simple to have a look at. But I just wanted to touch on that point, that for now we are volunteering our time, you are volunteering your time to come here and collaborate a bit. Eventually, if we get funded, we would be happy to share a bit. Like I said, if someone takes the lead in carrying the torch and running these sessions. So it's just where we are. So I hope it's every time you invest some time to come to these calls, that it's worth your time, and that it aligns also very much with what you're already doing, so that it's not an extra investment of time. One topic on the next here that we have, that Mark from Upstream was suggesting that we touch on, was looking into alternative methods of directly funding grassroots communities, especially because the community hubs wasn't funded. And what I was seeing from the beginning is that community hubs is basically going to be the representatives of Intersect in certain regions, so that they can host the main Intersect governance workshops and etc. And I'm starting to get the feeling that the community hubs are not going to percolate, or what's the name, to all the way down to all the grassroots communities. So it's important that we debate a bit how we can fund ourselves directly. We've had, like I was saying before, these proposals. We can take a look at these, but from the other side, we can take a look at other venues to get funded. So I'm not sure if anyone wants to add anything to this list or talk about this topic. Any thoughts? Maybe sharing your experience about what you have been doing. And I know that Laurentine has been running calls. I know that Mohammed was just saying he's been doing their things. How have you been doing this? Have you been doing this for free? Do you envision applying for funding? How has that been going?
Yeah, so I think I'll just say a bit on this.
Sure.
So in fact, thanks for this call again, because as Laurenton asked for more clarification, I mean, we've got to now know that these calls are going to be community focused, and it's going to give communities the opportunity to come together and meet from different countries, from different regions, to learn from each other's activities and experiences, so that we can together build our respective communities together. So for us as Cardano Ghana community, we have our Telegram group for everyone in Ghana, like for participants that have been to our meetups. And for most of our meetups, these are funded Catalyst projects. I mean, just the recent funding around Catalyst Fund 13, we got funded for Cardano Ghana developer and onboarding, the Cardano Ghana developer and tech hubs onboarding. So we had to, engage about three key tech hubs in Ghana in order to onboard developers, either Web2 developers or Web3 developers, so that they, in the first place, learn about Cardano and how they can also build some real-world solutions, like they'll build simple dApps and some other smart contracts on Cardano blockchain. And so we just concluded a project as of last month. And then, of course, I mean, updates on that could be found on our YouTube channel. And quite apart from Catalyst, we also partner with some community groups. Let's say WADA and Catalyst Africa Town Hall. This May, on May 22nd to May 24th, on Saturday, we'll be having like governance workshop for about 50 people in Ghana here. And this meetup is in partnership with is being powered by Cardano Ghana community and that of Catalyst African Town Hall. And so that's how we are operating. I mean, we sometimes we get resources from Catalyst, sometimes we collaborate with other communities, other like regional communities in the Cardano ecosystem, so that we can do our events, our educational events, onboarding events, and all that. And also we also have some virtual discussions once a while. We can do that on Zoom, Google Meet, and and then the fiscal to complement the fiscal meetups. Yeah, so can I just see the agenda again so that if I want to touch on anything else? But for now, let me see. For now, yeah, that's
Okay.
what I can say around events. Yeah, on Catalyst.
So I was just listening to you, but also browsing here.
Okay.
This list of proposals that weren't funded, and from
All
here I
right.
got to Unpopular L's page, and from there I got to the videos. So here we have what the Francophone Corner has been doing, and I'm going to pass the floor to Laurentine next to ask a bit how they were doing these things. But from what I heard from Mohammed, it's very much either voluntary work or Catalyst funded. Does that summarize it a bit, or?
Yeah.
But I'm curious. Do you have any kind of revenue streams or ways of I don't know? Did you ever consider asking people for contributions locally, that kind of thing, or do you envision just doing this voluntarily or from Catalyst? Do you see any other alternatives?
Yes, yeah. Sometimes we do have revenue generation models. For instance, through sponsorships and partnerships. I mean, we could write to tech hubs around. We could write to like-minded blockchain organizations in Tamale that could come on board. That would want to like just engage our participants, and they can sponsor the event. And so through that, you'll be able to realize some income out of that, and that can help you to even sustain your activities and organize subsequent meetups. Yeah.
Okay. So sponsorship from other chains as well, and contributions from people, right? Great stuff.
Yeah.
Laurentine, can you talk a bit to us about what you've been doing, and the same question about like how did you get this funded, and how do you see it going forward?
Thank you very much, Lucas, for this call, and thank you for the opportunity to share. Yeah, the Cardano Francophone Corner started when we realized that this is something that I've always noticed things are very in the Cardano community. I noticed that we who are in the Francophone French-speaking countries, we do work, but the problem is that our work is limited because we introduce people to a community, and when they join, they don't understand what people are saying. They don't feel involved in communications, discussions. They can't say anything unless maybe something is translated and then they can read it. And we know that in Africa here, people don't like reading. So people like to feel involved.
There's an oral culture, right, of transmitting knowledge, right? I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yes. So people want to also, apart from the fact that people don't like to read, I think people also want to participate in conversations, have their voices heard. But we are in a system where I know there are other communities, for instance, the Japanese community, where I don't think when they gather, they speak English, they speak Japanese. So we said, okay, maybe we should also think about something like those from Sri Lanka. I don't think they gather and speak English, they speak their language. But we decided that, okay, let's have a platform where we can also allow the French-speaking people to also contribute, where we bring the updates from discussions during the week, or any discussion, any updates that is going on, and also allow them to say what they want to say, what they think about the situation. So that's how we started. But I did some survey not a real survey, but I tried to understand, like take some sentiment to understand what people think about. And I realized that people, it is not something that is so important. But I would assure you that in Africa here, in West Africa alone, if we have to count all the countries in Africa, you'll see that we have more French-speaking countries in Africa than even English-speaking countries. If I even concentrate only on the West Africa.
Could you say that again?
I said in Africa in general, we have more French-speaking countries than English-speaking countries. And where we are is West Africa, where we have Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and all those countries, Nigeria. We even have more French-speaking countries. So it is not something that we have to neglect, because considering the fact that we have people from Goma. Goma is a very serious community. In Burkina Faso, where I am also, a lot is going on, but we feel limited because we have people who don't understand what is going on, and we are limited by, we don't have funding. To answer your questions, what we started, we did not get any funding for that. We don't have any support for that, but we are not complaining. But we were expecting, to have some support. We couldn't get.
So you're translating content, you're hosting these calls for tens of people. I was looking for on YouTube for a bit of like this image, because I was on one of these calls recently, trying to lend a hand as well. And it's amazing the amount of people that you get to join. I'm curious to know if they're coming from a lot of the Francophone, the 4 Francophone corners of Africa, or how did you get to reach out to this many people?
Yeah, these are people who are already members of our community, because I run a Cardano hub here in Burkina Faso. We started the hub in 2022. So I run a hub, and I have a lot of people, members, active members, but we don't have so much opportunity to get them involved. I also contacted Boaz from Goma. And I told him about the project, and he said he is in. So he also brings some of his people. And I contacted the hub lead from Cote d'Ivoire as well. And he comes alone. And there's also a hub in Cameroon. I don't know, it is not directly led by Memos, but Memos comes also to join. So this is how I'm able to gather people.
Super. That's really cool. So this, I think this really articulates a bit with what I was talking about. Like, you are already using a lot of your time and effort, and just because you love Cardano, you want to share knowledge, and just to be concrete about the question of sustainability, or you're not going to be selling tickets for this, for sure. Or what do you see there? What's a long-term articulation? Does this articulate with what you do as an educator or as a facilitator somewhere else? How does it work?
We will continue working until maybe we get funding, because when we submitted the proposal in the budget proposal, some of the comments that we got, but most of the comments said that it is more suitable for Catalyst. So hopefully we will still submit it there when the funding starts. And but we'll still continue. But and the fact is that sometimes I hope that maybe we will get some little fundings from Intersect. I don't know what they have on the table for this year, but last year, for instance, we were able to organize, for instance, the constitutional workshop in Burkina Faso, thanks to the fundings we got from Intersect. Maybe our actions will be limited due to funding, because what we were expecting to do was to really work a lot on onboarding, and also trying to develop skills, technical skills. That is why there's a subsequent proposal that I submitted, but that one was also not really suitable for this budget proposal, and I didn't know. So most people saw that the project was good, and the project is to have a blockchain training center, at least for Francophone, because we have, during the discussions with Boaz and his people from Goma, we realized that the French language, English remains a real barrier to us.
And it's going to be like that, not just with the French, but with the Spanish. I was talking with Jose about the person running Token Mithandrir, I think, and that they help in Spanish and in French because they're capable of it. But the person helping in Spanish doesn't actually speak English. So the language barrier is something that we need to get tools and processes to translate things. It was really interesting for us when we did the pitch for our proposal, this one, that we it was the first time that I actually put in a video and I subtitled it in 4 languages. And because I can speak a bit of it, it was really interesting to see how the viewer, even from Portuguese, where I'm native, it makes things a lot clearer for me. Having worked in English for 15 years, it's still somehow interesting to see myself with Portuguese subtitles, because what I'm saying is a lot clearer to us. So yeah, the language barrier is something that we need to get in our nature in Cardano to translate and to be bilingual or trilingual, something like that. And also to what you were saying, it's really interesting for me because I am a technical facilitator. I was a technical business analyst in traditional finance. And when I'm coming to Cardano, I started Cardano for non-technical people, and I was doing this kind of education for end users. And I felt for 2 years, for example, since Fund 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in Catalyst, that Catalyst was always oriented to build applications. And there was a lot of tracks for building and no tracks for education or these kinds of things. And now Intersect is supposed to be broadening the horizon. They have the community committee, they have the marketing, the product, and all those things. Product, for example, is a bit more technical, but especially for the community committee, I would imagine that we should have space in the proposals that just passed, like this one. I would disagree that this is not the space to put this and that this belongs in Catalyst. So it's just I thank you for making us think about this, and I hope everyone in the call can share views on this, or anyone watching us asynchronously can also add to the discussion on Twitter or on Discord, anywhere, because I feel like there continues to be a blind spot. And that's a bit the term I used in our Catalyst proposal. There is a blind spot. Even with the community hubs, I was seeing a blind spot for grassroots communities. And so thanks for helping touch on this a bit today. Yeah, so also, just to close on this topic, because we are coming to the top of the hour, we've touched a bit on a number of things already today, and so maybe we can leave it at this. But I wanted to ask you, basically what you guys have been talking about is either Catalyst, apparently the Intersect facilitated treasury budget proposals wasn't the venue or didn't get any traction from DREPs or direct voters. So are you familiar with any of these? Do you agree that it would be interesting to look into other direct funding? For example, one point that I have here is not expecting Catalyst to pay for everything, but also not to just look for other funding things like these two, and start instilling a culture of value for value, or donations from. So instead of just appealing to innovation funds like these three, we could have this kind of culture. One thing that I find interesting, just to touch on the concept of value for value, and I'm not sure if Nuno is friendly to this concept as well. Bitcoin was invented, Cardano was invented to make value more fluid. So when people are accessing your website or watching your content, there should be better ways that we could build in Web3 so that people could be flowing value in the opposite direction. You see, so someone watching videos on YouTube, and there are some applications like this on Bitcoin already. There's one called Fountain, where you can put a podcast and the person is able to donate. There's Nostr on Bitcoin, and I don't think we have many tools like this in Cardano. So yeah, this is what I can share from what we have on screen, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. On asking for tickets or donations on the event happening, or reaching out directly to even Ada Whales.
My thoughts about this mostly are around the ICO narrative, around, I don't know, 2017 or something. Or not even so, less years ago. The narrative was that it's very easy to crowdfund with blockchain technology. Like you were saying, to have a tipping mechanism, a wallet, you can directly send funds.
Yeah.
But the crowdfunding narrative, the ICO narrative that was in blockchain, I think it's a good narrative, and I think we can explore it in our projects.
Okay. We have something on Cardano that's similar to Pump.fun, and sometimes I've thought about that type of I don't know. It requires a lot of more strategy and care about the tokenomics of things. So, but thanks for touching on that. By the way, Nuno, right?
Yes, that's me.
Your image is frozen for some
I know.
reason.
I know. I don't know. Maybe
okay.
Maybe open again.
Yeah, no worries.
No,
so,
but my point is, with blockchain technology, it's very easy to send money in transnational without borders. So I think we should take advantage of that, whatever we're doing.
Okay. Okay. There's one example. Speaking of tokenomics or organizations creating their token, we have the Gimbal in Cardano, which was created by Gimbal Labs, and I'm not sure exactly where that is, but for a good while it was being shared within communities, not as a way of funding for sure, but as a way of merit. And I think that is something that's very interesting as well. Guys, any more thoughts before we close today's discussion? Do you guys, for the ones in Cardano communities, do you think it would be, so for example, I saw that Goma Pool already has in their site a donate button. Do you think that's a good idea that we could try to facilitate within 45B Grit initiative, that we have more of those buttons and that people can donate, namely whales or whoever is supporting you, instead of they just voting for USD reps? Do you think that could be a good idea?
Yeah, that would be a good idea. We need to just find alternative ways of raising resources and raising funds locally ourselves, and this has to be donations. This has to be more like corporate social responsibility aspects. I mean, as community builders or as community local communities on Cardano, we can take ourselves or pride ourselves as civil society organizations or just like non-profit organizations, and then we can also leverage the fundraising models of CSOs in order to raise funds locally, get our own people to support our own initiatives, like selling tickets or value for money, value for value, as we explained. I mean, people will see the need to buy ticket to attend a Cardano meetup or to attend a Cardano blockchain conference, and by so doing, they are supporting. They are supporting the movement, or they are supporting the organization, and they are also finding some value for themselves by coming to learn and also network in order to innovate in the blockchain space. And so it's about time, because for me personally in Ghana, I have hosted. I've never charged for a conference, for a blockchain conference, for a Cardano meetup. I've never charged. Even for Cardano Summit, we're told as community-led event organizers, we're told to charge up to like $10 per ticket, but we never did it because we feel that when you charge the people to pay and come to the event, they may complain or they may not be able to afford the ticket. And so once, as far as you have the funding to, purchase, hire the venue, print swag, organize food and beverage and all that, you just feel like you're spending the budget on that. But I think that going forward, from my personal experience, we can begin to charge some small tokens like $2, $3, $5, even up to $10 for tickets, so that people will support us, and that's how we can sustain our activities. That's how we can generate some revenues in order to streamline and scale our operations. So that's really a good idea. I mean, Lucas, and
Yeah.
of course, 45B can have that kind of donation buttons or donation platform where we can crowdfund, and people could come and just pitch their ideas to the communities that are participating in this cycle, and we can together raise some monies together.
Okay. Great. I think it was an interesting back and forth, and it gave us a bit more of some ideas. One thing that articulates with what you just said is you don't you can sell tickets, but that feels a bit off. What you could do, especially on onboarding sessions or that kind of thing, is like get $5 of fiat, and the person can pay $5 of fiat and get $4 of ADA, as onboarding in an onboarding exercise. I don't know. It's just some opportunities to explore because I don't know. Something to explore a bit further. Guys, we need to zoom out and close today's session. We touched a bit on this point as well today. Maybe I'm going to try to create a bit of something to make this a bit more visual. And this one, we can touch on it next call as well. So the last thing I wanted to do before we go is really ask you guys if you're oriented in terms of reaching out to our to stay in touch with us. So there's the YouTube playlist, there's the Discord server, there's a channel within the Discord server, there's the Luma calendar as well. I rarely mention this, but on Luma, if you subscribe to the calendar, you should get a notification every time we create a new edition of the call. So the first one I didn't title it, but on this one I put in year 25 week 20 because it's the week 20 of the calendar, and I'm going to continue to do it. But yeah, I really encourage you to follow all these links, and on the Luma one you will see somewhere in my case I see the manage, but you should see a way to subscribe to the calendar yourselves. And yeah, let me know if there's any questions before we go.
I have one question. Maybe what's for 45B in the short term, like in the next week or 2 weeks? What's going to be your focus? I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's interesting as well, because one thing that I was meaning to add to this type of list of communities and organizations is here there is a short intro to Goma, and there's an intro video to Goma, and what we could also have is somewhere is a way of a calendar for next events by a certain community. In our case, we're going to be focusing on Nomad World. That's a conference that's going to be happening in Albufeira in the south of Portugal, and I'm going to be a speaker there promoting our Web3 course, so 45b.io/Web3. Thank you for the opportunity to mention this. Yeah, so we're taking signups to, like I said, more for educators or small and medium businesses or people from any line of business to onboard them to Web3. We take them over these topics from zero to thinking about what you can build within your company. And so we're going to be pitching this course in the Nomad World Conference that's going to be happening in the south of Portugal. And we're also going to be making use of the time to interview people outside in the beach and throughout the venue of the Nomad World. Thanks for reminding me to mention this. Anyone else? Does anyone want to share what they're going to be doing in the next few weeks?
I would happy to say what I'm doing.
Sure.
So I'm focusing on how can DAOs coordinate, how can DAOs communicate efficiently as they scale. So I'm designing fractal democracy I know I sound like talking about very abstract and things that it's not introduced. It's not even on the website.
Okay.
But
yeah, I'm just showcasing your initiative.
It's about human coordination. How can we coordinate as we scale? And I think I have the answer to this question. How can we scale? I think I have this answer. So I'm going to focus on putting it on paper.
At 45B, we've hosted a number of governance specific calls, and maybe we could host a themed one to articulate between Cardano and yourself.
Okay.
So let's keep in touch about that.
Okay, cool.
Super. Okay, everyone, this is all we have time for today. Any last thoughts from anyone before we go? No questions, no feedback. Are you okay to meet again next week at this hour, or do you want to switch it up and down on the calendar? You're on mute. Sorry.
Thanks for the session today. I just wanted to remind you to let us have the Discord links, so that we could put some of the suggestions on the chat regarding the time shuttles.
Okay, so I'm going to DM that to you on Telegram and on WhatsApp for Laurentine. You could find it through the Miro board, like I was sharing on the left side. If you are on the Miro board still, you can always refer to that here. Okay, Discord server and the channel, but I'm happy to share this to you in DMs. Okay, great stuff. Okay, that's it then. See you next week, and thanks again for your time. All the best for your initiatives.
Thank you, and see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.